Hi, thank you for joining me today. My name is Kenia Agaton. I am the Career Services and Community Outreach Coordinator here at Woodbury University, and today I'm here to talk to you about resumes. So creating a compelling resume is essential in today's competitive job market. Today we'll discuss general guidelines, optimizing for ATS, incorporating transferable skills, and avoiding common mistakes. So what is a resume? Oftentimes, a resume is an employer's first impression of you. It is a summary of your qualifications, of your achievements. It is your way to tell the employer that you are the right match for this job. So for you, it is a marketing tool. It is a way for you to showcase your achievements and skills, and a way for you to stand out from other candidates. Before we get into the nitty-gritty details of what to include in your resume and why it is so important to tailor your resume, I'd like to take a step back and talk about applicant tracking systems, which have absolutely transformed the landscape by automating the initial stages of the recruitment processes. What they do is sift through hundreds of resumes, filtering candidates based on specific keywords, phrases, and formatting criteria. This means that not only does your resume have to be visually appealing for a human, it also has to pass through the initial screening of an ATS. Understanding how they work and how they filter candidates is very important since generic resumes are less likely to pass through the ATS filters. So how do we pass that? Very simple procedures. Use standard formatting, use standard fonts, don't use any complex layouts, any graphics or unusual formatting that may throw off the ATS. Use clear headings, education, experience, skills, projects, so that your information is categorized correctly. And most importantly, optimizing as many keywords as possible. And we are going to go over this later on, but making sure that you analyze the job description and understand what the employer is looking for and mirroring that language in your resume. Remember, the goal is to create a document that is both ATS friendly and appealing to human readers. There are a lot of ways to test if your resume is ATS friendly online. My personal favorite is jobscan.co. I do believe you get 5 free scans a month, so use your 5 scans wisely. I'm sure there are other free ones. I just prefer that one. Once we've made it to pass the initial screening, how do we appeal to the hiring manager? What do we actually include in our resume? What information is important to them? And all of that can vary. The order and the content of the headings of your headings on your resume can vary based on your level of experience. Whether you are an entry-level candidate, a student looking for their first internship, someone in their mid-career, or someone who is thinking of changing their careers and going down a different path. For entry-level candidates and most students, if you have limited experience, place the education section at the top of your resume. This highlights your academic achievements and possible relevant coursework, which can be important for employers who are looking for that foundational knowledge. If you're an entry level or a student, you might also benefit from including leadership and activities that you may have been a part of during undergrad, any projects, any volunteering that may be relevant to the position that you're applying for. For candidates with a few years of experience, lead with the experience. This allows you to showcase your professional achievements and responsibilities, which are often more important to employers than the education. Now, as for the length of your resume, if you have less than 5 years of experience, typically one page is what is standard. And again, that can vary based on your industry. For example, if you're applying for a government job, they would love to know every single job you've ever worked. They have guides online on how they would prefer their resumes to be written. So do your due diligence and make sure you research your field, your industry, even the company, what their standard is and what's worked with people. Some of my favorite sites to use for that can be Glassdoor, Reddit, LinkedIn. Make sure you connect with someone who is already in that industry so they can give you the best advice about what's standard for your role. Now, regardless of your experience level, tailoring your resume to the specific job is probably the most important step. For example, let's say you're looking to change industries in your field. If you have volunteered or work on a project related to the company's initiatives that you're applying for, including that information is not only relevant, but also provides a potential conversation starter during an interview. Now, I've included a copy of what a standard resume template can look like, and if you would like a copy of this, you're more than welcome to email me for it. I've included my email on the last slide. I'm more than happy to share it. Again, standard for your industry, but keep it boring. You don't know if the company that you're applying for is using an applicant tracking system, so preparing to have it be read either by an ATS or human is best practice. Now, one of the worst mistakes that you can do is using the exact same resume for every single application. Think of your resume as a response to the job description. Your resume should not be a summary of all of your job responsibilities at your current job. It should be a showcase of your impact, results, and achievements. But most importantly, how all of those relate to the job that you're applying for. So, how do we make those small changes from our resume to match what's on the job description? Make sure to analyze and understand what the employer is looking for. What kind of skills do they have listed? What kind of qualifications? What kind of experiences? Compare that to your resume and see what can be changed to match a little bit better to the job description. And use job specific language. So mirror the language that's used in the job description. Not only does that help with an applicant tracking system, but it also resonates with hiring managers who are looking for candidates that might fit their specific needs. So where would we incorporate that? I've included an example here of a copy of a short job excerpt and where we can and highlighted what the skills they're looking for, what strategies, what kind of experiences they prefer in a candidate, and where we can incorporate that in our resume. We can either incorporate it in our professional summary, our work experience section, which is where I recommend it the most, and ensure that in your work experience section, you are quantifying your results as much as possible. So if you've developed marketing campaigns that led to an increase in followers or an increase in web traffic, or a boost in conversion rates, make sure you include that in your resume because those results, those impacts are important to the employer who you're submitting your job application to. In the skill section, make sure that we're using the same keywords that they're using in the job description. So say you had digital marketing in yours, but they have digital marketing plus SEO, so social media management, and PPC. Ensure that those keywords are somewhere in your resume. Now, how can we do that if we are maybe changing careers and we don't actually have any relevant experience to the job that we're applying for? Um, that's when we need to incorporate our transferable skills as much as possible because these soft skills typically are applicable across various roles and industries. And the first step is identifying what they are. First, identifying what the job is looking for and identifying which ones you have. So common ones can be communication, leadership, problem solving, and teamwork. They're universally valued and they can really show how your ability to contribute in a new environment. And ensure that you're framing your experience, even if your previous job titles do not directly relate to the new job position, concentrate on the skills and accomplishments that are relevant. For example, if you have experience in a previous administrative roles, but you're applying for a project coordinator or project management role, highlight your experience in managing schedules, coordinating tasks, and collaboration. Mention them in your professional summary. Make sure you highlight the key transferable skills that have helped you succeed in past roles. That will set the tone for the rest of your resume and provide context for your experiences. In your work experience section, include bullet points that not only describe your responsibilities, but also illustrate how you utilize your transferable skills to achieve those results. By focusing on the transferable skills and framing your experiences, you can create a story through your resume that showcases your potential to excel in a new career path. And finally, common mistakes to avoid. Overloading with irrelevant information. Make sure you're resume is concise and focused. Remove any experiences that do not relate to the job that you're applying for. And one thing to avoid is, I know I said optimizing keywords is important, but make sure they make sense. Don't just mention a word so that you can pass that ATS, because you might pass the ATS, but you most likely will not make it past the hiring manager. Neglecting proofreading. Ensure either you proofread your resume a couple of times or you have a trusted friend, professional, read it. Ensure that there's no lining issues, spacing, typos, inconsistencies. If there's going to be a period at the end of every bullet point, ensure that every bullet point has a period. If you're not going to use periods, make sure that all of them don't have periods. And again, using a one-size-fits-all approach. And that can be applied to what I'm saying too. I might say something, and then you might talk to someone who is working in your industry or in a role that you're in, and they might tell you something completely different, and that's valid. It's subjective, and everything might differ depending on the industry or the role or even the company that you're applying for. So again, make sure you do your research and ensure that you're receiving the information that's standard to what you're applying for. Thank you for joining me today. I understand that writing a resume can be difficult, tedious, but I hope you walk away learning something new today. I am including my email up here just in case you want a copy of the template I mentioned, or if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, I'm more than happy to. Again, thanks for joining. Have a good one.